everybody, and welcome to Raising Vibrations. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the sun sign forecasts for the month of February. And in last month's description, I shared a little bit about the way in which the sun sign and the ascendant work together and why these solar cycles are important to watch and listen to. And in today's discussion, little opener, I'm going to be talking about something that's really fascinating, to be honest. It's always been a way in which we've understood astrology. And today we're going to be talking about something called a neutrino. Okay, the neutrino stream, the neutrino field, the neutrino ocean, however you wish to find it. It is the Aquarian age, in my opinion, word or terminology for the word for prana or energy or chi that we have labeled as a way to understand information and the way in which we experience this universe. So what is energy? What is the way in which we are having consciousness and the way in which we understand the spectrum of light? So neutrino and the neutrino stream is a neutrino itself is a very small particle, okay? It's actually smaller than an atom, and its mass basically penetrates through atoms. And basically what happens with a neutrino is that it contains information, okay, of everything that it passes through. So it permeates the totality of our entire reality in which we experience, and that is how we actually get to understand the astrology impacting us, how we get the planetary archetypes, and how the information passes through us. Okay, it's no coincidence that in the ancient times, we would have a lot of teachings, esoteric teachings, in which the sun would be a way in which we would absorb photon energy, and we would basically have our cellular memory activated through that experience. That's why, if you notice on the internet, there's a lot of things about sun gazing or, spending a great deal of time activating yourself through the sun. The same, obviously, with plants and stuff. It's not a coincidence. And so the information that moves through our reality is this thing called the neutrino ocean, the neutrino stream. And like I said, it was prana, chi, energy, however you wish to describe it. And there's, like I said, these little small particles that are incredibly tiny. They're incredibly tiny, okay? And then in the description below, I've got some links for everybody to go and read and check this out and to educate yourself on, because it's a really fascinating thing to do. Science is really trying to understand this in a very deep way. And so what the neutrino does is it basically moves through the sun, and the sun permeates these neutrinos, and as it basically comes through Earth and it moves through our body, we have all the information imprinting our consciousness, imprinting our body. And this process is the way in which these planetary energies influence us, like I said. All right. And it's according to a system of knowledge, 70% of the neutrino is actually coming from the sun, and the rest of it comes from the universe in itself. And the collapsed stars permeate information. And as it moves through us, through everybody, okay, it moves through us and it basically sticks on us for information, and it moves through and carries information. And that's how we basically are evolving our consciousness, which is why I've come to understand that these sun sign forecasts are really powerful pieces of information to understand, because the fact that we can have the sun sign, so my sun sign Scorpio, your sun sign whatever, the sun, as it basically manifests itself and it permeates the earth, and the neutrino information goes through the sun and through your chart, it activates your consciousness, it activates your template. And this template basically reflects to you the nature of how your consciousness is evolving in this lifetime. So watching your astrology has become something so fascinating to me even more, because as it opens up this dimension of reality, we get to see how much the universe is consistently supporting us with what we have come here to evolve. And that's why, for me, understanding these sun sign forecasts and understanding them through an evolutionary cycle has brought an immense amount of wow, I really actually like this. I really actually enjoy understanding how these things are influencing us in a massive way, more so than I had in the past. So neutrinos, neutrino stream, this is how this information gets imprinted through us. And I wanted to share a picture with everybody over here. Let me just go over to the screen and you can still hear me. And on the right-hand side, you see a guy standing over there and the sun permeating the neutrinos, the information being reflected from the sun. The sun contains light. The light is obviously what we are in consciousness, and that moves through us. And there are approximately 65 billion neutrinos moving through your body every minute. So the capacity for us to actually experience these neutrinos moving through us is so incredibly large. And you can see on the left-hand side over here, the sun, neutrinos from the sun, right? It basically comes from the center of the sun and it moves through all the planetary systems and permeates through Earth. And that's how we obviously are impacted by this. And it's really, really fascinating. And like I said in the description below, there's a couple of links that you can click on to go and read more about this and see some of the experiments that science is doing at the moment to capture this. And according to the way in which they've been able to capture this, only 6% of the 65 million neutrinos has science been able to actually put it down and say, hey, we can spot these things called the ghost particle. So this is a really, really fascinating thing for us to be able to actually track the way in which our consciousness is being imprinted from the neutrino stream. And we're having this happen to us all the time. That's how the nature of the universe moves through us. And we're constantly watching this process just unfold in our way. So really fascinating stuff. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little introduction. And coming up right now is your sun sign forecasts. Hello, my Virgo friends, and welcome to the sun sign forecast for February 2017. And I hope you're well. And I also hope that you enjoyed the little introduction video on how the astrology and how we are impacted by the neutrino stream, and just giving us a sense of, okay, so, this is why astrology can be such an powerful tool for us, because it really does give us a sense of how we're consistently evolving and mutating, which is actually one of the reasons why I began doing these forecasts, because I started to notice that there was quite a big influence in the sun sign forecasts, not simply because obviously this has been going around forever and a day, but that there's actually evolution to it, and put in the right hands, I feel that you can really get an incredible amount of awareness around how these energy patterns are actually moving through us. So here we are, and part of this process is to illuminate you as you go through the month of February, just kind of giving you a sense of direction, what to look out for and what's going to be coming through your way. So let's start off with Pluto, and there's Pluto in the 5th house of your solar cycle, and that of course is the bottom line of this chart. Okay, so Pluto being the symbolism that is currently evolving the fabric of your reality. Okay, the undertone, the baseline for your whole entire reality right now is of course being evolved through this Pluto solar 5th house for you. So what does that mean? And I keep on going back to this, and I'll keep on going through this in next forecasts as well. This is all about your ability to be self-actualized. This is your time where you've come onto the planet and you are now here to bring your sense of special purpose and destiny to the table. And this is a great opportunity to really get in touch with what are your dreams, what are your creative pursuits, and how are you going about manifesting them in your life. Now, when I talk about manifestation, it's a very different flavor to what the general spiritual ideals are about manifestation. I'm talking about how you are following your individual soul's path. Like, what if you come here to watch and see and then share with us as a way for us to see what it's like to look at life through your lens. Okay. And so this is about getting in touch with that expression, okay, in a very, very subtle and beautiful and sensitive way. Now, part of this process for you as well is you've got Saturn still transiting your solar 4th house, which if we move over here, we can see there's where Saturn is. And, I've watched many of you go through some very, very tough stuff around your home, around the parents, the mother in particular. And this is a really, really big deal for you guys at this moment in time. Saturn is really bringing an incredible amount of learning and responsibility and sense of maturation, emotional development in this area. So it's not uncommon for you to feel really restricted in the home. It's probably not uncommon for you to feel like your life currently at the moment is really limited in your capacity to feel that you can go out and manifest these dreams and this special destiny that I'm talking about with Pluto. But on a more sort of like evolutionary note, the energy that Saturn is bringing to your solar fourth house is developing a very strong sense of identity in which you need to then attach to this sense of purpose. Okay. So an example that I could give you is like this. Raising vibrations in itself, its solar fifth house, it's like special destiny, as it were, is the colors that you see, the logo that you see, the way in which I, display the experience, and you interact with its different colors and vibrations, and you get an understanding of what I am. Yet the essence of raising vibrations in itself is a very intimate process for me, and you get to share that with me as I express my inner reality with you. Okay, so these forecasts are coming from a space within inside of myself that is deeply connected to the idea of nurture and care and guidance. Okay, and so that would be my fourth house identity that I'm attaching to the fifth house self-expression. So for you, a lot of this chart, a lot of the symbolism over here that you're working with in terms of the restriction in the home, this very slowness around being brought back into your roots, being brought back into the conditioning that has influenced you as you were growing up. Well, that is pretty much what is being dealt with the Saturn stuff. And of course, it can be heavy. Okay, so this is very much about just getting in touch with the right identity. Okay, and this will be here for up until the end of the year, and that's nothing to be sort of depressed about. It just, and I know, of course, I'm saying this because I don't have that, so I know what you mean, but I am saying to you that just be with this process, because if you kind of skip beats on it, then what's going to naturally happen for you is that you're not going to have a very fully developed functioning sense of identity that is in alignment with your destiny, and you'll find yourself like still manifesting from places where there's no emotional development in that area. Okay, and this goes for everyone that is of our solar cycles. For me, my Saturn's in the second house and my solar second house, and of course I'm dealing a lot with the nature of resources and how I distribute them, and so on and so forth, and how I receive them. So I've also got that lesson. Okay, so don't feel like this is something that is just exclusive to you guys. Okay, because it can be like that with the Virgo constellation. Okay, so let's have a look at some other stuff that's really happening for you at this stage. Mars is moving into your solar eighth house, and of course it moves out of your seventh, and you've been dealing a lot with relationships. You've been dealing a lot with the nature of how you are expected to do things, your expectations on how things are placed on you and how you can be there for others and when you're needed and not needed, etc. And so Mars transiting into your eighth house is bringing some Scorpio themes to the process now, okay? This is now about commitment. And how does commitment work for you? Intimacy and bonding, okay? And Venus will actually join Aries on the 3rd of February, okay? And it will now begin to add extra flavor towards this commitment and intimacy and loss and abandonment and betrayal types of themes. Okay, so just watch what happens around you. My advice to you is do not get too personally attached to the way in which life is expressing these energies around you. It can definitely feel very dark and heavy with Mars and Venus in the 7th house, in the 8th house. Okay, my suggestion is just recognize that this is a part of the process, that you're being shown things in your environment about when people are committed to stuff, when people are feeling abandoned and betrayed, and you're here to watch this process, okay? Because when these symbols actually leave the 7th, the 8th house, that's when you get the insights. So this is about just watching this process, okay? Now, on the 6th of February, we've got Jupiter, and Jupiter's going to go retrograde. And so for all of you, this means that your core philosophy and belief systems and the idea of wanting to expand, okay, that's been in your solar second house. So for you, the solar second house has been all about your value, all about your abundance, all about your sense of stability within yourself and how your resources have been equally distributed to the right things. And Jupiter is aspected by Uranus, it's aspected by Pluto, and it's also aspected by Chiron. Can you see there? There's Uranus making the connection, there's the Pluto connection there, and then there's the other connection with Chiron, okay? Now, that's a really, really challenged angles. Okay, those are challenging angles towards Jupiter. So for all of us, we're dealing with this kind of breaking down of relationship dynamics in which we have convinced ourselves or compromised ourselves or projected into the world the idea of something that's a lot grander than what it is. So as Jupiter goes retrograde for all of us, we're going to really begin to renegotiate. That's Libra, and it's so it's Capricorn, retrograde. So renegotiate our relationships to things in which we have overcompensated, where we have undercompensated, where we haven't given ourselves enough space to breathe. Okay, and for you, that's all about your finances and your resources and your ability to feel abundant. Okay, you're going to renegotiate that process for you. Okay, and of course, this is all about your ability to feel abundant in yourself and how you're able to share that with others. Okay, so then on the 10th of February, we've got full moon lunar eclipse happening at 22 degrees Leo, and this is a big deal for all of us. This lunar eclipse, is going to affect the way in which 2017 manifests for us and the way that it goes. It's going to set the tone. And this is all about feeling as if we are able to be accepted in groups, where this is all about being part of a community in which we are part of something greater, and our sense of acceptance, our sense of love, our sense of wanting to be a part of something that brings joy to our heart, that's going to feel absent during this period of time, you know? And the purpose is to create this experience for us in 2007 to develop that. And in my 2017 forecast presentation, I actually talk quite in depth about how this lunar and solar eclipse that's happening in February is influencing the way that we will have our lives transit through 2017. But also, if you have a look here, there's the nodes, that's the south and north, there's the south node and there's the north node. They're actually moving into the constellation Leo and Aquarius in 2017. So those nodes are going to be affected and influenced by what's happening in February. And that presentation talks about it quite in depth. So if you're interested in actually getting that presentation, just email me, and I'd be happy to send you the recording of that process. It's $10, and you can really get a lot of information around how 2017 is going, because this is going to be something that is really, really influential for all of us, especially with the fact that on the 10th of February, as this lunar eclipse happens, for all of us, we're going to feel like, oh my gosh, we're really, really detached and traumatized, and we need to find our way back to our humanity. So this is going to string it. And for all of us, we've got something to contribute, okay? Now, on the 14th of February, okay, and if you look over here quickly, on the 14th of February, they've got the moon going to hit Jupiter, and it's going to make it in conjunct to Chiron. Now, this is going to be where our sense of values and needs and other people's expectations are going to come into foray with you, okay? So you're going to definitely deal with the way that your values and needs and other people's expectations on you are going to clash, and you're going to find yourself having to make a choice between following your own internal story versus people's ideas of what they think you should be doing, okay? And then on the 18th of February, we've got the sun entering Pisces, and that's going to move into your solar 7th house. And this is a big deal because as it moves into your solar 7th house, it brings up all of the dynamics of relationships again. But this time it will be more about how do you commit to the relationship versus how do you don't. Okay, so pretty much whatever December and January was for you, we're going to get some illumination around that and lots of clarity, okay? As the sun enters Pisces and deals a lot with your expectations, your ways of relating, what's fair, what's not fair. And of course, when the sun actually enters Pisces, we'll begin to then have the new moon take place for us. Okay, you'll see it now. Look at the party happening on the 26th of February. You've got Mercury, South Node, Moon, Sun, Neptune, and Chiron all in the 7th. And that's going to bring the solar eclipse. So we had the lunar eclipse telling us where we're accepted and where we're not, and wanting to be a part of something. And then the solar eclipse for you is going to be, how am I going to find the right type of relationships that support this desire of mine to become part of something that ultimately supports my dreams? Okay. All right, my Virgo friends, have a fantastic month. And don't forget to check out some of the services that I've got on my site. If you're interested in booking readings or wanting to learn astrology, check out Learn Your Chart as well. And other than that, again, like I said, have a fantastic February month, and take